So here we are in Mahoney's and Sons. It's a little bit loud, but I hope you can hear me. We are at a Meetup event with Karen Straughan and unfortunately not Lauren Southern. I am the Vice President of the Simon Fraser University Advocacy for Men and Boys Club. So I have a vested interest in being around someone who is questioning the current dogma surrounding gender issues. I think we're going to go around and be asking people a few questions pertaining to men's issues and in general why they're here and how they're feeling about this. What brought you here?
I'm here to drink beer with my fellow shitlords and to oppress women and yeah, to harass Anita Sarkeesian and whatnot. And,
is she here?
Oh no, but like just by being here.
Just put it out into the ether,
Yeah,
you know.
No. I'm just here to hang out, basically. Yeah, I like the atmosphere. I like actually being in a place that's full of people that aren't idiots. I was brought up in a culture that like respected masculinity, respected femininity at the same time, obviously too, and didn't buy into this like bullshit gender egalitarianism that like everybody can be the same. Like one of the things my mom said to me when I was really young is, well, if all these feminists want everything to be equal, why don't the men start breastfeeding the kids? Right? So it's like I come from that just kind of grounded in reality, right?
There does seem to be a fairly large overlap between libertarians, MRAs, Gamergate, people like that. The communities overlap, definitely.
Well, I mean, it's about equal rights. It's about like we were saying earlier, equal rights for everyone, special rights for absolutely no one. And I think that's the libertarian principle is equal rights. Everyone deserves equal rights. Treat everyone equally, but you can't make everyone equal. You can treat everyone equally, and hopefully we can turn this around.
I'm an anarchist, and as an anarchist, I think like Dan here, that everybody should be treated equally, but not given special privileges. So, not using the government to be your big daddy, which I see lots of feminists doing. You have only women allowed, but men's groups only are not allowed.
We ran into that issue up at SFU a few years ago. They tried to have a men's center, and the criticism was, they're just going to play video games with their bros and talk about how to oppress women. It's like, if that's really what you think men are doing in a safe space, then I think you need to be educated, Having watched Karen, what are your opinions on the men's rights movement and men's issues in general?
Yeah, there are legitimate issues, of course, cultural Marxists, social justice warriors. All these types don't want to hear it. The moment you say men's rights, you're sexist, misogynist, colonialist, white supremacist. You're everything, every negative label they can throw at you. That's what you are.
It can be quite frustrating because oftentimes you hear if you criticize feminism, there's a retreat to the dictionary definition. But I'm not granted that same right with men's issues. If I say, the dictionary definition is that I care about men's issues, they're like, no, that it means more than you're saying it means.
Correct.
What brought you out here?
I'm a misogynistic shitlord on the internet, and I knew everyone else here would be as well, so I thought I was in good company. Pretty much, I'm associated with the evil movement called Gamergate that hates women. No, I should stop. I should stop. No, I'm involved in Gamergate, and I'm sympathetic to men's rights, and I do follow it a bit, and I thought this would be an interesting group to get along with, and it has been, because a lot of people here don't know what Gamergate's about, and then I don't know everything that the men's rights movement is about, so we've kind of been just yelling information back and forth at each other. It's been really good.
For sure. I mean, dialogue's great. You can get to learn a lot. So what have you learned? I guess what have you learned tonight about men's issues that you didn't know before?
One thing I learned that's new is that how big it is here, which is really important. It's really nice to see.
I think that's actually, you mentioned something about men and women. And I think that's one of the things that surprises a lot of people about the men's rights movement is that there is a significant part of it that is women. It's not just a bunch of guys screaming about getting their foreskins back, as we have been parodied. I don't even own a fedora.
But yeah, I know, I definitely knew that there's a lot of women. I mean, I follow honey badgers, of course, so I knew like right away that there's a lot of women involved, but I do know that that is surprising to a lot of people, and I think it's something important to showcase. It's like, look, we're not all sexist men. This is proof. Women wouldn't get along with us if that's what it was about. It's very different, and it's important to a lot of different people, a lot of different genders, a lot of different racial backgrounds, everything.
It's definitely a movement that cuts across a lot of boundaries.
Well, what's our goal here? If our goal is to be happy, then we have a society now that's been manufactured into unhappiness. Women especially seem to be unhappy, and this has been brought about by a movement that was supposed to liberate women, which in my view, liberation means being happy. So now we have lots and lots of women who are miserable. We were just talking about Big Red. That woman has no possibility of ever being happy in her entire life. She's been fed a doctrine that keeps her miserable and keeps her politically active. So they need to keep her miserable and angry and fed this doctrine of hatred and rage towards men.
You need to keep people believing that they're victims. Otherwise, they're not going to try to enact change. If you allow some of them to be happy and some of them to not be happy, you no longer have a solid movement. You no longer have all women fighting for all women's rights, and then you kind of lose cohesiveness. And where do you go from there?
That's what I'm talking about. The political activism has to be continually pumped up with basically what I see as lies. We were just talking about the definition of patriarchy. The definition that Karen talks about is completely opposite from the definition of patriarchy that the feminist movement talks about. Men have always taken care of women. Men have always sacrificed and built things and gone to wars to protect women, you know, and we need to do that for the survival of the species. So to take and twist that into an oppressive system, that's not reality-based.
Well, I mean, they ignore the fact that when you try and keep someone safe, you will be limiting their freedom.
So what's our move?
From here?
Our move. What's going to work?
Continue being logical, hope to convince people one by one in open discourse. Otherwise, we become the enemy. If we start to try and make change in the same way they do and fire all men up, we're going to become like them.
I think a men's general strike. About 3 days. No water, no electricity, no food, no delivery of goods. All the things that men control. If we just shut all that down for 3 days, feminism would die at its roots. They would no longer be able to say that men are useless. Let's get rid of 90% of the men.
I'm here to see Karen.
Would not a mirror have been cheaper?
It really would have, and a lot less trouble.
One of the questions that's come up a few times has been what's the next move for the men's rights as a whole, or can we even approach it that way as a whole rather than a patchwork of people doing their own projects?
Next question, please.
What source would you recommend to someone who's looking to get educated about these issues as much non-biased way as possible? Aside from your own videos, of course. Shameless self-promotion.
My videos actually, they do have a bias, so, and I think almost anything that you're going to read, even if it comes from a really, really balanced perspective, is going to feel biased, even if it's not, because we're immersed in like a matrix of bias, And so anything that's fair is going to feel like it's biased in the other direction. I would recommend, there's 2 books that I would recommend, actually 3. The Manipulated Man by Esther Wheeler, Warren Farrell's Myth of Male Power, and Roy Baumeister's Is There Anything Good About Men? And then I might even go so far as to recommend Chin Waitsu's The Anatomy of Female Power. And those are probably all really good ways of familiarizing yourself with the ways society exploits men.
So we have pretty much interviewed everyone who came here tonight, except, of course, the president of our little group of hooligans, Theron Meyer. So as for our club, SFUAMB, what's our next step after Karen's event on the 8th?
I want us to kind of go back to the MRA basics: circumcision, suicide, depression, for the listeners. All of those things, I really want to see events in the future on those things. And I wanted to grow from our club. Maybe get some initiatives on campus, like the men's circle. But I do want to see it grow from our club. Rather than just seeing our club grow, I want to see other things grow from our club.
It's events like this that give us a chance to take a moment off from all the trouble and all the issues we have to deal with and relax with people who we know we don't have to prove ourselves to. We have libertarians. I think I heard a MGTOW or 2 around here. Definitely MRAs, people who are curious with that, Gamergaters. It's been very diverse and very interesting to see how all the different groups intersect and are related, and I've heard a lot of people learning a lot tonight. I saw a Gamergator and a men's rights activist swapping stories and learning from each other. It's very exciting.